Ladies and gentlemen, I want you to hear me now and hear me well. There's a power inside of you that you haven't even scratched the surface of yet. There's a fire burning in your soul, but life, oh life, it will try to smother that fire. It'll hit you with disappointments, rejection, loss, fear, failure, and somewhere along the way, you start believing the lie that you're not enough, not capable, not strong enough. But I stopped by today to tell you, that's LIE. You are stronger than you think. I'm not here to hype you up with sweet words. I came with proof. I came to remind you of the battles you've already won, the storms you didn't think you'd survive, but look at you still standing. The moments that crushed your spirit but not your soul, that's not weakness, that's strength, that's resilience, that's power. You may have forgotten how powerful you are, but today we're going to uncover it. Today, I want you to see it for yourself, not because I said it, but because deep down you already know it's true. It's time to rise up to break those chains of self-doubt and to walk in your strength like never before. Think back to the hardest moment of your life, the one that brought you to your knees, that made you question everything, even your will to keep going. You remember it, don't you? We all have those moments. Times when the pain felt unbearable, when the world seemed too heavy, when no one understood and you felt completely alone. But let me ask you something. How did you get here? Because you're here. That means you didn't quit. That means you didn't let it destroy you. You made it through, and that right there, that's the proof I'm talking about. That's the evidence that you are stronger than you think. We often underestimate ourselves because we look at our reflection and only see the flaws, the scars, the failures. But we forget to count the victories. We forget to acknowledge the strength it took to survive what we went through. It didn't take a crowd cheering you on. It didn't take everything going right. You pulled yourself through the dark, inch by inch, when there was no map, no light, and no one to guide you. That's power. That's strength. And most of all, that's yours. Sometimes we think strength has to look like muscles, like shouting, like being loud and bold all the time. But real strength is quiet. Real strength is crying yourself to sleep and still getting up the next day. It's being heartbroken and still choosing to love. It's being broke and still trying. It's being scared and still showing up. You did that. You've done it over and over again, whether you gave yourself credit for it or not. You've already faced things you once thought would break you. And yet, you're still here. That's not luck. That's not coincidence. That's resilience, and it lives inside of you. Think about the obstacles you've overcome. Maybe you were rejected, told you weren't good enough. Maybe you lost someone you loved. Maybe you failed at something that mattered deeply to you, but even in the middle of that pain, even in the middle of the chaos, something in you said, keep going. It may not have been loud. It may have been a whisper. But it was there. That's your inner warrior. That's your spirit refusing to die, refusing to give up. And the beautiful thing is, it's always been there. The proof of your strength isn't in some future goal or achievement. It's in your story. It's in your journey. It's in what you've already survived. You've been through enough storms to know you're not made of glass. You don't shatter when life gets hard. You adapt. You bend. You stretch, and yes, sometimes you fall, but every single time you've found a way to rise. That's strength. That's proof that what's inside of you is greater than anything that could come against you. And the more you look back and recognize that, the more you begin to realize how much power you truly carry. It's easy to forget, especially when life throws new challenges in your face. It's easy to think, this time I can't make it. But if you take a moment and remember all the other times you said the same thing and still came out stronger, you'll realize that your strength has already been tested and proven. You're not a beginner when it comes to pain. You're not unfamiliar with struggle. You've faced fear. You've battled insecurity. You've carried burdens others never saw, and you kept moving. That deserves to be recognized. That deserves to be honored. Not just by others, But by you need to give yourself credit for how far you've come, because that's where your confidence will grow. That's where your strength will become undeniable. The truth is, we often downplay our resilience because we're used to surviving. We normalize the extraordinary things we've done just to make it to today. But if someone else lived your story, they'd call it miraculous. They'd call it heroic. And they'd be right. Your strength is not in question. The question is, are you willing to see it? Are you willing to acknowledge that the evidence is already there? Every scar, every tear, every comeback, it all adds up to a living testimony of your power. You don't need anyone else to validate it. You've got the receipts. You've got the history. You've got the lived experience that says, loud and clear, I've been through hell, and I'm still standing. That's not fiction. That's not motivation. That's your life. That's your reality. That's your proof. Struggles have a way of making us doubt ourselves. When we're in the middle of pain, chaos, and confusion, it's easy to believe that we're breaking. It feels like we're losing control, like life is winning, like maybe we just don't have what it takes. But what if I told you that struggle doesn't mean weakness? What if I told you that your struggles aren't breaking you? They're revealing something powerful. Something unshakable, that's right. Struggles don't break you. They reveal the warrior within. The strength you didn't know you had, the courage you didn't think you could access, the fight that was buried deep inside. It all comes to the surface when the pressure is on. You see, pressure doesn't create diamonds, it reveals them. You were already built with greatness, already made with something strong and powerful inside of you, but you didn't need that strength when everything was easy. You didn't need that warrior when life was smooth. It was in the fire, in the sleepless nights, in the rejection, in the heartbreak, in the loss. That's where the real you showed up. That's where you discovered just how resilient, how resourceful, how unstoppable you really are. And it wasn't because you had everything figured out. It was because deep down something rose up and said, I'm not done yet. That warrior spirit isn't something you can fake. It doesn't come from reading motivational quotes or watching inspiring videos. It comes from real life battles. It comes from moments when you wanted to quit but didn't, when you were exhausted but kept showing up, when your heart was broken but you still gave. That's the warrior. That's who you are at your core. Not the version of you that doubts, not the version that's afraid, but the version that keeps going, no matter what. And every time you struggle, every time you face a new challenge, that warrior gets sharper, stronger, more fearless. It's easy to wish for an easy life, but easy lives don't build strong people. Easy lives don't teach you how to rise from rock bottom. They don't show you how to believe in yourself when no one else does. But struggles, they shape you, they stretch you, they introduce you to the depth of your own character. Struggles don't ask your permission. They just come. But what you do with them, how you respond, that's where your power is revealed. That's where the fire inside of you is ignited, and the more you endure, the more you grow. The more pain you face, the more unbreakable you become. And I want you to understand this. Struggles are not setbacks. They are setups for transformation, setups for strength, setups for clarity, because in the middle of that storm, you begin to find out who you really are. Not who the world told you to be, not who you were pretending to be. But the real you, the fighter, the overcomer, the champion, that person is not created by comfort. That person is revealed by adversity. And once you see that version of yourself, once you meet the warrior within, you can never go back to playing small. Think about it. Every great story, every inspiring leader, every hero you admire, they all have one thing in common. They went through something. They fought through something. They didn't just wake up great. They were forged in struggle, just like you. You are no different. You have been in battles that no one knows about. You have survived nights of crying alone, days of pretending to be okay when you weren't. And yet here you are, not broken, not defeated, just stronger, wiser, and more equipped than ever. The warrior inside you doesn't just appear once and disappear. It lives in you. It becomes a part of how you walk through life. You start to carry yourself differently because you know what you've overcome. You start to speak differently because you remember what it took to survive. And you start to dream differently because now you believe in what you're capable of. Struggles don't weaken you. They wake you up. They remind you that you were born to rise, not to quit. They expose your power and introduce you to your purpose. Because when you come out on the other side of a struggle, you are never the same again. People may see your smile and not understand the pain behind it. They may hear your laugh and never know how many tears it took to get there. But you know the fire you walked through. You know what it cost you to keep going. And that's why you don't need anyone else to tell you how strong you are. The struggle already proved it. The battle already revealed it. The fight already unlocked it. And now, that strength is yours forever. Your mind is the most powerful force in your life. It's the control center, the command post, the foundation on which everything else is built. And yet, most people never learn how to use it to its full potential. They let outside circumstances, past failures, other people's opinions shape what they believe about themselves. But here's the truth. Your mindset determines how deeply you access your true power. Not your circumstances, not your past, not your environment, your mindset. That internal dialogue, those beliefs you hold, that inner conversation you repeat day in and day out, that's what decides whether you stand tall or stay stuck. If you believe you're weak, then your actions will follow that belief. You'll shrink, you'll hesitate, you'll settle, but if you believe deep down that you are strong, that you are capable, that you were born with something special inside you, then no matter what comes your way, you'll find a way to rise. The truth is, your mind can be your greatest asset or your worst enemy. It can talk you into your greatness, or it can talk you out of your destiny, and the difference isn't what happens to you. It's how you think about what happens to you. Every single day, you're planting seeds in your mind, seeds of power or seeds of fear, seeds of courage or seeds of doubt, and whatever you plant consistently is what will grow. That's why you've got to guard your mind like your life depends on it, because it does. You've got to be intentional with your thoughts, selective with your focus, and disciplined with your inner voice. The moment you start shifting your mindset from I can't to I will, everything around you begins to change. The doors that were locked suddenly swing open. The challenges that looked impossible become opportunities to grow. The fear that held you back loses its grip. You may have heard people say, change your thoughts, change your life, and maybe it sounded too simple. But the reason it keeps being repeated is because it's true. Your thoughts are the blueprint of your future. You don't build a strong life with weak thoughts. You don't become unstoppable while thinking like a victim. You've got to program your mind for greatness, and just like any muscle, the mind needs training. It needs consistency. It needs daily reminders of who you are and what you're capable of. Start speaking power into yourself. Speak it when you wake up. Speak it when you feel tired. Speak it when no one else sees your vision. Tell yourself, I am strong, I am focused, I am built for this, I have what it takes. Because the more you speak it, the more you'll start to believe it. And once belief takes root, it changes how you show up in every area of your life. You stop playing small. You stop hiding your gifts. You start stepping into rooms with confidence. You start setting goals that stretch you. You begin to walk in your strength because now your mind is aligned with your purpose. One of the greatest mistakes people make is waiting to feel strong before they act strong, but feelings are followers. They follow thoughts. If you wait until you feel powerful to move, you'll stay stuck. But if you think powerfully, you'll start to feel powerful. And once you feel powerful, you'll start acting in ways that produce powerful results. That's the cycle. That's the chain reaction. And it all begins in the mind. The strongest people in the world aren't those who have had the easiest lives. They're the ones who have learned how to master their mindset in the middle of chaos. They've trained their minds to focus on the solution, not the problem, to see the lesson, not just the loss, to hold the vision even when everything around them says it's impossible. And that's something you can do too. It's not reserved for a chosen few. It's a decision, a daily choice to think higher, to speak better, to believe deeper. Don't let your mind be a storage unit for pain, fear, and doubt. Turn it into a powerhouse for strength, courage, and clarity. Feed it with ideas that uplift you, challenge you, and stretch your potential. Surround yourself with words, people, and habits that remind you of your greatness. Because when your mind is right, everything else aligns. Your actions become bolder, your goals become clearer, your energy becomes magnetic, and your life begins to reflect the power you've always had inside. It all begins with mindset. That's the key that unlocks the strength already within you. You don't need to look outside for it. You just need to go within, shift your thinking, and decide that from this moment on, you will no longer entertain thoughts that shrink you, belittle you, or hold you hostage. You will think like the warrior you are, because that's how you unleash the greatness that was always there. Now, after everything we've talked about, I want you to take a deep breath and realize something powerful. You've already got what it takes. The proof isn't out there, it's in you, in your story, in your scars, in your survival. You've overcome more than most people will ever know. You've walked through storms, climbed out of pits, stood back up when life tried to knock you down. And you did it without applause, without recognition, and sometimes without even knowing how. That's not weakness. That's strength. That's power. That's you. You are stronger than you think. Not because you've never been afraid, not because you've never struggled, but because you kept going anyway. You found a way to rise. And every time you faced pain, every time you stared down fear, every time you battled self-doubt, you didn't just survive, you evolved, you became more, wiser, braver, fiercer, and now you know. You don't need permission to step into your greatness. You don't need approval to claim your power. You've already earned it. So walk boldly, speak confidently, dream fearlessly, live like someone who knows, without a shadow of a doubt, that no matter what comes next, you are ready. Because the next time life tests you, you won't question your strength. You'll remember this truth. You are stronger than you think, and now you have the proof.